Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/rive to receive the top 10 stocks to buy right now. One of the companies that I'm really bullish on right now is General Motors. And it's not because I like the legacy auto business, it's because I like the company's majority ownership of Cruise, the autonomous ride sharing company. And Cruise just announced that it's expanding into 2 more cities coming in the next couple of months. By the end of the summer, it should be operational with commercial operations, no drivers in 5 cities in the US. And this is probably just the start of the company's expansion plans. So I want to get into exactly what was announced this week and the potential impact on GM as an investment long term, because I think the numbers are bigger than you might realize. My name is Travis William. Thanks for watching Rive Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And for a deep dive into Cruise specifically, I'll put a link in the show notes to an asymmetric investing newsletter post that I did, where I dug into how this could be a multi-$100 billion business in about a decade. So let's start with what CEO Kyle Voigt announced this week. Here he says that Cruise is going to be going live in Houston and Dallas in the next few months. Supervised autonomous driving is going to start in Houston in the next few days and Dallas following soon thereafter. The way that this works is that Cruise basically drives around with this autonomous vehicle and a driver in the car for a couple of months, basically just mapping the city, mapping the areas that it's going to have operational. And then eventually those drivers are taken out of the picture. That's what's happened already in Austin, Texas, and that's coming to a couple of other Texas cities as well. And this news happens as the company is testing its Origin vehicle. This is a custom built autonomous driving ride sharing vehicle that's going to look like a little bit like a miniature bus. And they're testing that. They said in the coming weeks, we haven't actually seen this on the road yet, but over the next couple of months, we'll probably see this on the roads starting in Texas. And the company is working with federal regulators to get this vehicle approved, hopefully by the end of this year. That's the target that the company has put out. If you're not familiar with the Origin, this is the vehicle right here. It's got sensors up in the top corners. This is where things like the radar and LiDAR sit, where cameras are. And then it's built primarily for ride sharing. So this is a image here. You can see that you could fit about 4 passengers, and you'll sit a little bit differently than a normal vehicle, but there's not even space for a driver in a vehicle like this. There's also the ability to use this for delivery. So you can see this little module that sticks in the door. That's another option, and I think we'll probably see that as something that's going to be a big deal for Cruise because that's become a big business for Uber. And then there's also improvements for mobility. So a lot of great use cases for this Cruise Origin vehicle. So moving into a couple new cities, like I said, that will be 5 commercial cities that Cruise will be available likely by the end of the summer. But just how big can this business be? Now, I did some estimates in the write-up that I did that I mentioned on asymmetric investing. I put some calculations together and said that maybe in 10 years this could get to be a between $50 and $250 billion business from a revenue standpoint. Well, GM actually put some numbers out here. This is the first time that they've done this. In the most recent quarterly report, they said they're targeting annual revenue for Cruise of $50 billion by 2030. So that's only 7 years from now. Clearly, they're seeing a lot of expansion in the future for Cruise because $50 billion is a big number. The expansion into a couple new cities is a step in that direction. And if we see that pace of expansion pick up, this is not really out of the question. I think, this is a big number, but Uber's doing about $30 billion in revenue, and they don't even account the money that goes to drivers as part of their revenue. So the money coming into Uber is actually closer to $100 billion. That's about what people are spending on rides. By 2030, 2035, I don't think it's out of the question that Cruise becomes a $50+ billion business. So why does this have an impact on General Motors? Well, GM owns about 80% of Cruise, basically controls the company. It's also developing and building the Origin vehicle, and it's giving Cruise money to expand its operations. So not only has it invested in the company itself, it's offered a $5 billion line of credit to build vehicles and then launch them into public for commercial operations. As investors, what I think we need to see is steps towards more commercial operations in more cities, in larger areas in each of those cities. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. The expansion into Austin and Phoenix were only announced last fall. They went into effect late in 2022, early 2023. And now we have another expansion announced in early May. So I think by the end of this year, it's possible that Cruise is operating in 8 to 10 cities. Another year after that, maybe it's 25 cities. This is a business that can expand a lot quicker than I think a lot of people think. And given the fact that GM has put out there that they think this could be a $50 billion business by 2030, I think that's really encouraging because this could be an incredibly profitable business and the kind of business that has a real moat around it, unlike a lot of the legacy auto businesses like General Motors. So this is why I'm excited about GM stock. It's not the legacy business, it's not selling trucks, it's Cruise. I think this is going to be the value driver over the next decade. And these are big steps in the right direction. So, what did you think about these announcements? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow Rive Investing here on YouTube. And like I said, check out that report I did on asymmetric investing. I think you'd really enjoy that. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you here next time.